Manchester City Football Club is an English football club based in Bradford, Manchester that competes in the Premier League, the top flight of English football. Founded in 1880 as St Mark's, West Gorton, it became Ardwick Association Football Club in 1887 and Manchester City in 1894. The club's home ground is the Etihad Stadium in East Manchester, to which it moved in 2003. Having played at Main Road since 1923. The club adopted their sky blue home shirts in 1894. Having won 8 league titles, 6 FA Cups, 8 League Cups, 6 FA Community Shields and 1 European Cup Winners' Cup, it is the 5th most successful club in English football. Manchester City joined the Football League in 1892, and won their first major honour, the FA Cup, in 1904. The club had success in the late 1960s and early 1970s, winning the League, European Cup Winners' Cup, FA Cup and League Cup under the management of Joe Mercer and Malcolm Allison. After losing the 1981 FA Cup final, the club went through a period of decline, culminating in relegation to the third tier of English football for the only time in its history in 1998. They won promotion back to the top tier in 2001-02 and have remained in the Premier League since. The club received considerable financial investment in both playing staff and facilities following its takeover by Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan through the Abu Dhabi United Group in 2008, winning the FA Cup in 2011 and the Premier League in 2012, followed by another league title in 2014. Under the management of Pep Guardiola, City won the Premier League in 2018. Becoming the only Premier League team to attain 100 points in a single season. In 2019, they won 4 trophies, completing an unprecedented sweep of all domestic trophies in England and becoming the first English men's team to win the domestic treble, in addition to winning the 3rd Premier League title in the Guardiola era. City reached their first European Cup final in 2021, where they lost to Chelsea. Manchester City's revenue was the 5th highest of a football club in the world in the 2018-19 season at €568.4 million. In 2019, Forbes estimated the club was the 5th most valuable in the world at $2.69 billion. The club is owned by the City Football Group Limited, a British-based holding company valued at £3.73 4 United States dollars and 80 cents billion in November 2019. History. City gained their first honours by winning the second division in 1899. With it came promotion to the highest level in English football, the First Division. They went on to claim their first major honour on 23 April 1904, beating Bolton Wanderers 1-0 at Crystal Palace to win the FA Cup. City narrowly missed out on a league and cup double that season after finishing runners-up in the league, but City became the first club in Manchester to win a major honour. In the seasons following the FA Cup triumph, the club was dogged by allegations of financial irregularities, culminating in the suspension of 17 players in 1906, including captain Billy Meredith, who subsequently moved across town to Manchester United. A fire at Hyde Road destroyed the main stand in 1920. And in 1923 the club moved to their new purpose-built stadium at Main Road in Moss Side. In the 1930s, Manchester City reached 2 consecutive FA Cup finals, losing to Everton in 1933, before claiming the cup by beating Portsmouth in 1934. During the 1934 Cup run, Manchester City broke the record for the highest home attendance of any club in English football history, as 84,569 fans packed Main Road for a sixth-round FA Cup tie against Stoke City in 1934, a record which stood until 2016. The club won the First Division title for the first time in 1937. But were relegated the following season, despite scoring more goals than any other team in the division. 20 years later, a City team inspired by a tactical system known as the Revie Plan reached consecutive FA Cup finals. Again, in 1955 and 1956. Just as in the 1930s. They lost the first one to Newcastle United, and won the second, the 1956 final, in which Manchester City beat Birmingham City 3-1. Saw City goalkeeper Bert Trautmann continuing to play on after unknowingly breaking his neck, after being relegated to the second division in 1963. The future looked bleak with a record low home attendance of 8,015 against Swindon Town in January 1965. In the summer of 1965, the management team of Joe Mercer and Malcolm Allison was appointed. In the first season under Mercer, City won the second division title and made important signings in Mike Summerby and Colin Bell. 2 seasons later, in 1967–68, Manchester City claimed the league championship for the second time, clinching the title on the final day of the season with a 4-3 win at Newcastle United and beating their close neighbours Manchester United into second place. Further trophies followed. City won the FA Cup in 1969 before achieving European success by winning the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1970, beating Gornik Zabrze 2-1 in Vienna. City also won the League Cup that season, becoming the second English team to win a European trophy and a domestic trophy in the same season. The club continued to challenge for honours throughout the 1970s, finishing 1 point behind the league champions on 2 occasions and reaching the final of the 1974 League Cup. One of the matches from this period that is most fondly remembered by supporters of Manchester City is the final match of the 1973–74 season against arch-rivals Manchester United, who needed to win to have any hope of avoiding relegation. Former United player Denis Law scored with a backheel to give City a 1-0 win at Old Trafford and confirm the relegation of their rivals. The final trophy of the club's most successful period to date was won in 1976. When Newcastle United were beaten 2-1 in the League Cup final. A long period of decline followed the success of the 1960s and 1970s. Malcolm Allison rejoined the club to become manager for the second time in 1979, but squandered large sums of money on several unsuccessful signings, such as Steve Daly. A succession of managers then followed, 7 in the 1980s alone. Under John Bond, City reached the 1981 FA Cup final but lost in a replay to Tottenham Hotspur. The club were twice relegated from the top flight in the 1980s. In 1983 and 1987, but returned to the top flight again in 1989 and finished 5th in 1991 and 1992 under the management of Peter Reid. However, this was only a temporary respite, and following Reid's departure Manchester City's fortunes continued to fade. City were co-founders of the Premier League upon its creation in 1992. But after finishing 9th in its first season they endured 3 seasons of struggle before being relegated in 1996. After 2 seasons in Division 1, City fell to the lowest point in their history, becoming the second ever European trophy winners to be relegated to their country's third league tier. After 1. FC Magdeburg of Germany. After relegation, the club underwent off-the-field upheaval, with new chairman David Bernstein introducing greater fiscal discipline. Under manager Joe Royle, City were promoted at the first attempt, achieved in dramatic fashion in a playoff against Gillingham. A second successive promotion saw City return to the top division, but this proved to have been a step too far for the recovering club. And in 2001 City were relegated once more. Kevin Keegan replaced Royle as manager in the close season, and achieved an immediate return to the top division as the club won the 2001-02 Division 1 championship, breaking club records for the number of points gained and goals scored in a season in the process. The 2002-03 season was the last at Main Road, and included a 3-1 derby victory over rivals Manchester United, ending a run of 13 years without a derby win. City also qualified for European competition for the first time in 25 years. In the 2003 close season, the club moved to the new City of Manchester Stadium. The first 4 seasons at the stadium all resulted in mid-table finishes. Former England manager Sven-Göran Eriksson became the club's first manager from overseas when appointed in 2007. After a bright start, performances faded in the second half of the season, and Eriksson was sacked in June 2008. Eriksson was replaced by Mark Hughes 2 days later on 4 June 2008. By 2008, the club was in a financially precarious position. Thaksin Shinawatra had taken control of the club the year before, but his political travails saw his assets frozen. Then, in August 2008, the club was purchased by the Abu Dhabi United Group. The takeover was immediately followed by a flurry of bids for high-profile players. The club broke the British transfer record by signing Brazilian international Robinho from Real Madrid for £32.5 million. There wasn't a huge improvement in performance compared to the previous season despite the influx of money, however, with the team finishing 10th. Although they did well to reach the quarter-finals of the UEFA Cup. During the summer of 2009, the club took transfer spending to an unprecedented level, with an outlay of over £100 million on players Gareth Barry, Roque Santa Cruz, Kolo Touré, Emmanuel Adebayor, Carlos Tevez and Joleon Lescott. In December 2009, Mark Hughes, who had been hired shortly before the change in ownership but was originally retained by the new board, was replaced as manager by Roberto Mancini. City finished the season in 5th position in the Premier League, narrowly missing out on a place in the Champions League, and competed in the UEFA Europa League in season 2010-11. Continued investment in players followed in successive seasons, and results began to match the upturn in player quality. City reached the 2011 FA Cup final, their first major final in over 30 years, after defeating derby rivals Manchester United in the semi-final, the first time they had knocked their rival out of a cup competition since 1975. They defeated Stoke City 1-0 in the final, securing their 5th FA Cup, the club's first major trophy since winning the 1976 League Cup. In the same week, the club qualified for the UEFA Champions League for the first time since 1968 with a 1-0 Premier League win over Tottenham Hotspur. On the last day of the 2010-11 season, City beat out Arsenal for 3rd place in the Premier League, thereby securing qualification directly into the Champions League group stage. Strong performances continued to follow in the 2011-12 season, with the club beginning the following season in commanding form, including beating Tottenham 5-1 at White Hart Lane and humbling Manchester United by a 6-1 scoreline at Old Trafford. Although the strong form waned halfway through the season, and City at one point fell 8 points behind United with only 6 games left to play. A slump by United allowed the blue side of Manchester to draw back level with 2 games to go, setting up a thrilling finale to the season with both teams going into the last day equal on points. City led by 8 goals in goal difference. Despite City only needing a home win against Queen's Park Rangers, a team in the relegation zone, they fell 1-2 behind by the end of normal time, leading some of United's players to finish their game, a 1-0 win at Sunderland, celebrating in the belief that they had won the league. 2 goals in injury time, the second by Sergio Aguero in the 4th added minute, resulted in an almost literal last-minute 3-2 title victory, City's first in 44 years, with which they became only the 5th team to win the Premier League since its creation in 1992. In its aftermath, the event was described by media sources from the UK and around the world as the greatest moment in Premier League history. The game was also notable for former City player Joey Barton's sending off, where he committed 3 separate red card-able incidents on 3 players in the space of only a couple of seconds, resulting in a 12-match ban. The following season City failed to capitalize on the gains made in the first 2 full seasons of Mancini's reign. While City rarely seemed likely to drop below second in the table, they posed little title challenge all season. In the Champions League, the club was eliminated at the group stage for a second successive season, while a second FA Cup final in 3 seasons ended in a 1-0 defeat to relegated Wigan Athletic. Mancini was dismissed 2 days later, ostensibly as he had failed to reach his targets for the season. But BBC sports editor David Bond reported he had been sacked for his poor communication and relationships with players and executives. The Chilean Manuel Pellegrini was named City's new manager. In Pellegrini's first season, City won the League Cup and regained the Premier League title on the last day of the season. However, City's league form was less impressive in the next couple of years, and by 2016 they were finishing in their lowest position since 2010. Pellegrini's reign was ended despite a further League Cup win and the club's best ever finish in the Champions League. Pep Guardiola, former manager of Barcelona and Bayern Munich, is the current manager, who has been in charge since the dismissal of Pellegrini in 2016. Under Guardiola, Manchester City won the 2017-18 Premier League title with the highest points total in Premier League history and broke numerous other club and English League records along the way. They also won the EFL Cup that year, and Sergio Aguero became the club's all-time leading goalscorer. Guardiola then guided the club in 2018-19 to retain their Premier League and EFL Cup titles, the first time in Manchester City's history that the club had completed any successful title defence. The team then went on to also win the FA Cup and so complete an unprecedented treble of English domestic men's titles. In 2020, UEFA banned the club from European competitions for 2 seasons for alleged breaches of the UEFA financial fair play regulations. The club appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, who overturned the ban within months, finding that some allegations were above the 5-year-old limit for such UEFA investigations, while the other allegations were unproven. The CAS also reduced UEFA's fine from €30 to €10 million in April 2021. It was announced that City had joined the proposed European Super League as one of its 12 founder members together with the 5 other, Big Six English football clubs. However, the announcement led to widespread condemnation from the Football Association, the Premier League, UEFA and FIFA, as well as from the UK's Conservative government and Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Within 48 hours of the initial announcement on 20 April, City had announced that they had withdrawn from the Super League, to be followed shortly by the other 5 English clubs. By the following day, only 3 of the original founders, Barcelona, Real Madrid and Juventus, remained committed. And it seemed that the proposal had collapsed. In the COVID-19 affected 2020-21 Premier League season, City regained their title from Liverpool, becoming champions for the 3rd time in 4 years. They ended the season 12 points ahead of second-placed Manchester United, winning the title with 3 games to spare. They also won the EFL Cup for a record equaling 4th consecutive season and 8th time in total, beating Tottenham 1-0 in the final. Their league victory was the 10th league and cup title of Guardiola's 5-year tenure, making him the most successful manager in the club's history. The season was highlighted by City reaching their first ever UEFA Champions League final, where they met Chelsea, making it the 3rd All-English final in the competition's history. However, the Citizens were defeated 1-0 at the Estadio do Dragão in Porto, courtesy of a Kai Havertz goal. Still, City's breakthrough marked its most successful European campaign to date. A further report from Der Spiegel in April 2022 claimed, based on leaked internal documents, that the Abu Dhabi owners had previously made payments into the club disguised as sponsorship. Payments by Emirati companies like Etihad and Etisalat. The same claim that the club had successfully defended at CAS in 2020. Sheikh Mansour's Abu Dhabi United Group, ADUG, had allegedly indirectly paid for underage players to sign with the club, and that the club had allegedly used a fictitious contract between Roberto Mancini and Mansour's Al Jazeera club to pay large compensation fees to the former manager in addition to his salary. It also claimed that these 3 cases were under investigation by the Premier League for the last 3 years. In response, the club dismissed these claims as untrue and another attempt to undermine the reputation and integrity of the club. City retained their league title again in 2021-22 following another close title race with Liverpool, making it 4 titles in 5 seasons. In another case of typical City needing 4 points from their last 2 fixtures, City had fallen behind by 2 goals in both games, only to recover to a 2-2 draw against West Ham away, and to a 3-2 win at home to Aston Villa in the season finale. These last 3 goals were all scored in a 5-minute blitz between the 76th and 81st minute in an euphoric sell-out Etihad Stadium in moments that would sit alongside those famous victories in the 1999 playoff final against Gillingham and the 2011-12 Premier League finale against QPR. League history. L1 equals Level 1 of the Football League system. L2 equals Level 2 of the Football League system. L3 equals Level 3 of the Football League system. Club badge and colours. Manchester City's home colours are sky blue and white. Traditional away kit colours have been either maroon or, from the 1960s, red and black. However, in recent years several colours have been used. The origins of the club's home colours are unclear. but there is evidence that the club has worn blue since 1892 or earlier. A booklet entitled Famous Football Clubs, Manchester City, published in the 1940s, indicates that West Gorton, St Mark's, originally played in scarlet and black, and reports dating from 1884 describe the team wearing black jerseys bearing a white cross, showing the club's origins as a church side. The red and black away colours used infrequently yet recurrently come from former assistant manager Malcolm Allison, who believed that adopting the colours of AC Milan would inspire City to glory. Allison's theory worked, with City winning the 1969 FA Cup final, 1970 League Cup final and the 1970 European Cup Winners' Cup final in red and black stripes as opposed to the club's home kit of sky blue. City have previously worn 3 other badges on their shirts, prior to their current badge, which was implemented in 2016. The first, introduced in 1970, was based on designs which had been used on official club documentation since the mid-1960s. It consisted of a circular badge which used the same shield as the current badge, including a ship, based on the City of Manchester coat of arms, inside a circle bearing the name of the club. In 1972, this was replaced by a variation which replaced the lower half of the shield with the red rose of Lancashire. In 1976, a heraldic badge was granted by the College of Arms to the English Football League for use by City. The badge consisted of the familiar ship above a red rose but on a circular device instead of a shield. Blazoned as, a roundel per fesse azure and argent in chief a 3-masted ship sails set pennons. Flying or in base a rose gules barbed and seeded proper. On occasions when Manchester City played in a major cup final, the club wore shirts bearing a badge of the arms of the City of Manchester, as a symbol of pride in representing the city at a major event. This practice originated from a time when the players' shirts did not normally bear a badge of any kind. The club has since abandoned the practice. For the 2011 FA Cup final, its first in the 21st century, City used the usual badge with a special legend, but the Manchester coat of arms was included as a small monochrome logo in the numbers on the back of players' shirts. A new club badge was adopted in 1997. As a result of the previous badge being ineligible for registration as a trademark, this badge was based on the arms of the City of Manchester, and consisted of a shield in front of a golden eagle. The eagle is an old heraldic symbol of the City of Manchester. A golden eagle was added to the city's badge in 1958, but has since been removed, representing the growing aviation industry. The shield features a ship on its upper half representing the Manchester Ship Canal, and 3 diagonal stripes in the lower half symbolize the city's 3 rivers, the Irwell, the Irk and the Medlock. The bottom of the badge bears the motto, Superbia in Proelio, which translates as Pride in Battle in Latin. Above the eagle and shield are 3 stars, which are purely decorative. On 15 October 2015, following years of criticism from the fans over the design of the 1997 badge, the club announced they intended to carry out a fan consultation on whether to disregard the club badge and institute a new design. After the consultation, the club announced in late November 2015 the current club badge would be replaced in due course by a new version which would be designed in the style of the older circular variants. A design purporting to be the new badge was unintentionally leaked 2 days early prior to the Official unveiling on 26 December 2015 by the IPO, when the design was trademarked on the 22nd of December. The new design was officially unveiled at the club's home match on 26 December against Sunderland. Kit suppliers and shirt sponsors. Kit deals. Players. First team squad. As of 19 July 2022, the following players include EDS players who train regularly with the first team squad and who have previously made at least one league appearance. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out on loan. The following players have previously made a league or cup appearance or have appeared on the substitute bench for the first team and are currently on loan at other teams. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Other players with first-team appearances. The following players have previously made cup appearances or have appeared on the substitute bench for the first team. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Suspended. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Retired numbers. Since 2003, Manchester City have not issued the squad number 23. It was retired in memory of Marc-Vivien Foé, who was on loan to the club from Lyon at the time of his death on the field of play while playing for Cameroon in the 2003 FIFA Confederations Cup. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Player of the Year. Each season since the end of the 1966–67 season. The members of the Manchester City Official Supporters Club have voted by ballot to choose the player on the team they feel is the most worthy of recognition for his performances during that season. The following table lists all of the recipients of this award since 2000. Source: Halls of Fame. Manchester City Hall of Fame. The following former Manchester City players and managers are inductees in the Manchester City FC Hall of Fame, and are listed according to the year of their induction. National Football Museum Hall of Fame. The following former Manchester City players and managers are inductees in the English Football Hall of Fame, aka the National Football Museum Hall of Fame, and are listed according to the year of their induction within the various categories. Premier League Hall of Fame. The following players have been inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame, which is the Hall of Fame for association football players that have played in the Premier League. Inaugurated in 2020 but delayed a year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Hall of Fame is intended to recognize and honor players that have achieved great success and made a significant contribution to the league since its founding in 1992. Scottish Football Museum Hall of Fame. The following former Manchester City players and managers are inductees in the Scottish Football Hall of Fame, aka the Scottish Football Museum Hall of Fame, and are listed according to the year of their induction within the various categories. Welsh Sports Hall of Fame. The following former Manchester City players are inductees in the Welsh Sports Hall of Fame and are listed according to the year of their induction. Non-playing staff. Corporate hierarchy. Management hierarchy. Source: notable managers. Manchester City managers to have won major honours. Table correct as of matches played the 22nd of May 2022. Supporters. Since moving to the City of Manchester Stadium, Manchester City's average attendances have been in the top 6 in England, usually in excess of 40,000. Even in the late 1990s, when the club were relegated twice in 3 seasons and playing in the third tier of English football, then Division 2, now Football League 1, home attendances were in the region of 30,000, compared to an average for the division of fewer than 8,000. Research carried out by Manchester City in 2005 estimates a fanbase of 886,000 in the United Kingdom and a total in excess of 2 million worldwide. Although since the purchase of the club by Sheikh Mansour and the club's recent trophies, that figure has ballooned to many times that size, Manchester City's officially recognised supporters club is the Manchester City FC Supporters Club, 1949, formed from a merger of 2 existing organisations in 2010, the Official Supporters Club, OSC, and the Centenary Supporters Association, CSA. The City fans' song of choice is a rendition of Blue Moon, which despite its melancholic theme is belted out with gusto as though it were a heroic anthem. City supporters tend to believe that unpredictability is an inherent trait of their team, and label unexpected results typical City. Events that fans regard as typical City include Cities being the only reigning English champions ever to be relegated. In 1938, the only team to score and concede over 100 goals in the same season, 1957–58. Or the more recent example that City were the only team to beat Chelsea in the 2004–05 Premier League. Yet in the same season City were knocked out of the FA Cup by Oldham Athletic, a team 2 divisions lower. In the late 1980s, City fans started a craze of bringing inflatable objects to matches, primarily oversized bananas. One disputed explanation for the craze is that in a match against West Bromwich Albion chants from fans calling for the introduction of Imre Varadi as a substitute mutated into Imre Banana. Terraces packed with inflatable waving supporters became a frequent sight in the 1988–89 season as the craze spread to other clubs. Inflatable fish were seen at Grimsby Town, with the phenomenon reaching a peak at City's match at Stoke City on 26 December 1988. A match declared by fanzines as a fancy dress party. In 2010, City supporters adopted an exuberant dance, dubbed the Poznan, from fans of Polish club Lech Poznan. Rivalries. Manchester City's biggest rivalry is with neighbours Manchester United, against whom they contest the Manchester Derby. Before the Second World War, when travel to away games was rare, many Mancunian football fans regularly watched both teams even if considering themselves supporters of only one. This practice continued into the early 1960s, but as travel became easier and the cost of entry to matches rose, watching both teams became unusual and the rivalry intensified. A common stereotype is that City fans come from Manchester proper, while United fans come from elsewhere. A 2002 report by a researcher at Manchester Metropolitan University found that while it was true that a higher proportion of City season ticket holders came from Manchester postcode areas, 40% compared to United's 29%. There were more United season ticket holders, the lower percentage being due to United's higher overall number of season ticket holders, 27,667 compared to City's 16,481. The report noted that since the compiling of data in 2001, The number of both City and United season ticket holders had risen. Expansion of United's ground and City's move to the City of Manchester Stadium have caused season ticket sales to increase further. Over the last few years, Man City has also developed a notable rivalry with Liverpool FC. Considered to be one of the biggest currently in association football. Though the two clubs had been involved in a title race in the 1976–77 season. Liverpool and Manchester City's modern rivalry began in the 2010s, with City beating Liverpool to the 2013–14 title by just 2 points on the final day of the season. In the final of the 2015–16 Football League Cup, City beat Liverpool on penalties. Liverpool and Manchester City met in European competition for the first time in the 2017–18 UEFA Champions League quarter-finals, where Liverpool won 5–1 on aggregate, reaching the final, and winning the competition a year later. In the 2018–19 season, City again won the title on the final day, with City's 98 points and Liverpool's 97 being the third and fourth highest Premier League points totals ever. The following season, Liverpool won the title, recording 99 points, the second highest Premier League total ever, to finish 18 points above runners-up City. However, City retained the title in the following two seasons, with 2021–22 being another closely fought title race, with City only prevailing by a point after the last games. The success of the two teams in the 2010s and 20s has led to the development of a rivalry between Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, the managers of Liverpool and Manchester City respectively, with the two managers having been the respective managers of Der Klassiker rivals Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga previously. At the end of the 2018–19 season, Guardiola described his relationship with Klopp as a beautiful rivalry, and called Klopp's Liverpool team the strongest opponents I have faced in my career as a manager. In September 2019, Klopp hailed Guardiola for being his greatest rival ever, after both the two were nominated for the FIFA Men's Coach of the Year award in 2019, which Klopp won. In a 2019 survey, City fans answered that Liverpool, not Manchester United, are the club's biggest rivals. Manchester City also have long-established local rivalries with Bolton Wanderers, Oldham Athletic, and Stockport County, and recent competitive Premier League rivalries with Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea. Ownership and finances. The holding company of Manchester City FC, Manchester City Limited, is a private limited company, with approximately 54 million shares in issue. The club has been in private hands since 2007. When the major shareholders agreed to sell their holdings to UK Sports Investments Limited, UKSIL, a company controlled by former Thailand Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, UKSIL then made a formal offer to buy the shares held by several thousand small shareholders. Prior to the Thaksin takeover, the club was listed on the specialist independent equity market Plus, formerly OFEX, where it had been listed since 1995. On 6 July 2007, having acquired 75% of the shares, Thaksin delisted the club and re-registered it as a private company. By August, UKSIL had acquired over 90% of the shares, and exercised its rights under the Companies Act to squeeze out the remaining shareholders and acquire the entire shareholding. Thaksin Shinawatra became chairman of the club, and two of Thaksin's children, Pintongta and Ok Chinawatra, also became directors. Former chairman John Wardle stayed on the board for a year, but resigned in July 2008 following Nike executive Gary Cook's appointment as executive chairman. In May, the club made a pre-tax loss of £11 million in the year ending 31 May 2007. The final year for which accounts were published as a public company. Thaksin's purchase prompted a period of transfer spending at the club, spending in around £30 million, whereas over the previous few seasons net spending had been among the lowest in the division. A year later, this investment was itself dwarfed by larger sums on 1 September 2008. Abu Dhabi-based Abu Dhabi United Group Investment and Development Limited completed a takeover of Manchester City. The deal, worth a reported £200 million, was announced on the morning of 1 September. It sparked various transfer, deadline day, rumours and bids such as the club's attempt to gazump Manchester United's protracted bid to sign Dimitar Berbatov from Tottenham Hotspur for a fee in excess of £30 million. Minutes before the transfer window closed, the club signed Robinho from Real Madrid for a British record transfer fee of £32.5 million. The wealth of the new owners meant that in the summer of 2009, the club was able to finance the purchase of several experienced international players prior to the new season, spending more than any other club in the Premier League. City Football Group, created in the 2013-14 season to manage the global footballing interests of Abu Dhabi United Group. The City Football Group, CFG, is an umbrella corporation owning stakes in a network of global clubs for the purposes of resource sharing, academy networking and marketing. CFG ownership. Through the City Football Group, City owns stakes in a number of clubs. Melbourne City FC, 2014–present. On 23 January 2014 it was announced that Manchester City had partnered with the Australian Rugby League franchise Melbourne Storm, purchasing a majority stake in a league team Melbourne City FC. On 5 August 2015, CFG bought out the Storm and acquired full ownership of the team. Yokohama F. Marinos, 2014–present. On 20 May 2014 it was announced that Manchester City had partnered with the Japanese automotive company Nissan to become a minority shareholder in Yokohama-based J-League side Yokohama F. Marinos. New York City FC. 2015–present. On 21 May 2013 it was announced that Manchester City had partnered with the American baseball franchise the New York Yankees to introduce the 20th Major League Soccer expansion team, New York City FC, as its majority shareholder. The club began play in the 2015 Major League Soccer season. Montevideo City Talk. 2017–present. On 5 April 2017, CFG confirmed the purchase of Uruguayan second division team Montevideo City Talk. Girona FC. 2017–present. On 23 August 2017 it was announced that the City Football Group had acquired 44.3% of Segunda Division side Girona FC. Another 44.3% was held by the Girona Football Group, led by Pere Guardiola, brother of Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola. Sichuan Jiuniu FC. 2019–present. On 20 February 2019, it was announced that the City Football Group as well as UBTECH and China Sports Capital had acquired Sichuan Jiuniu FC Mumbai City FC. 2019–present. City Football Group was announced as majority stakeholder of Mumbai City on Thursday 28 November 2019 after acquiring 65% of the club. Mumbai City FC is the professional football club based in Mumbai, competing in the Indian Super League. Lommel SK 2020-present. City Football Group was announced as majority stakeholder of Lommel SK on Monday the 11th of May 2020, acquiring the majority, unspecified, of the shares of the club. Lommel SK is a professional football club based in Lommel, competing in the Belgian First Division B, second tier. Troyes AC 2020-present. On 3 September 2020, City Football Group announced that they had purchased the shares of the former owner of League Two club Troyes AC Daniel Masony, making them the majority shareholder of the League Two French club, Palermo FC 2022-present. On 4 July 2022, Italian Serie B club Palermo announced that City Football Group had acquired an 80% majority stake in their ownership. Partner clubs. Club Bolívar 2021-present. On 12 January 2021, CFG announced Bolivian club Bolívar as its first partner club. Vans OC 2021-present. On 18 February 2021, CFG announced French Championnat National 2, Tier 4. Club Vans OC would be its second partner club. Stadium. The City of Manchester Stadium in East Manchester, known as the Etihad Stadium since 2011 for sponsorship reasons, is on a 200-year lease from Manchester City Council. It has been City's home since the end of the 2002-03 season, when the club moved from Main Road. Before moving to the stadium, Manchester City spent in excess of £30 million to convert it to football use. The pitch was lowered, adding another tier of seating around it, and a new north stand built. The inaugural match at the new stadium was a 2-1 win over Barcelona in a friendly match. A 7,000-seat third tier on the south stand was completed in time for the start of the 2015-16 football season. Current capacity stands at 55,097. A north stand third tier has planning approval and work on it is expected to begin by 2017. Increasing capacity to around 61,000. After playing home matches at 5 stadiums between 1880 and 1887, the club settled at Hyde Road Football Stadium, its home for 36 years. A fire destroyed the main stand in 1920, and the club moved to the 84,000-capacity Main Road 3 years later. Main Road, nicknamed the Wembley of the North by its designers, hosted the largest ever crowd at an English club ground when 84,569 attended an FA Cup tie against Stoke City on 3 March 1934. Though Main Road was redeveloped several times over its 80-year lifespan, by 1995 its capacity was restricted to 32,000. Prompting the search for a new ground which culminated in the move to the City of Manchester Stadium in 2003. The stadium was renamed the Etihad Stadium in 2011. Honours. Based on trophy count, Manchester City are one of the most successful teams in England. Their 29 major domestic and European honours make them fifth on the list of most decorated sides in England, ahead of Tottenham Hotspur with 26. The club's first major trophy was the 1904 FA Cup, though they had previously won 3 Manchester Cups before that point. Their first top division league title came in the 1936-37 season. with the first Charity Shield won in the following August. City's first League Cup and European trophy both came at the end of the 1969–70 season. The two trophies also constituting the team's first trophy double. In the 2018–19 season, City became the first team to claim all of the major English trophies available in a single season, winning not just the Premier League, FA Cup, and League Cup, but also the Community Shield. The 1970 Cup Winners' Cup victory remains City's only European trophy. To date, they have reached the semi-final of the Champions League twice, in 2016 and 2022. In addition to their first-ever final in 2021, Manchester City jointly hold the record for most second division titles with Leicester City, both clubs having won the league on 7 occasions. Their first victory was in 1898–99, and the most recent in 2001–02. Domestic leagues: First Division, Premier League. Level 1. Winners: 8. 1936–37, 1967–68, 2011–12, 2013–14, 2017–18, 2018–19, 2020–21, 2021–22. Runners-up: 6. 1903–04, 1920–21, 1976–77, 2012–13, 2014–15, 2019–20. Second Division, First Division, Championship. Level 2. Winners: 7. Joint record: 1898–99, 1902–03, 1909–10, 1927–28, 1946–47, 1965–66, 2001–02. Runners-up: 4. 1895–96, 1950–51, 1988–89, 1999–2000. Promoted third place: 1. 1984–85, Third Division, Second Division, League One. Level 3. Promoted via playoffs: 1. 1998–99. Cups: FA Cup. Winners: 6. 1903–04, 1933–34, 1955–56, 1968–69, 2010–11, 2018–19. Runners-up: 5. 1925–26, 1932–33, 1954–55, 1980–81, 2012–13. Football League Cup, EFL Cup. Winners: 8. 1969–70, 1975–76, 2013–14, 2015–16, 2017–18, 2018–19, 2019–20, 2020–21. Runners-up: 1. 1973–74, FA Charity Shield, FA Community Shield. Winners: 6. 1937, 1968, 1972, 2012, 2018, 2019. Runners-up: 7. 1934, 1956, 1969, 1973, 2011, 2014, 2021. European UEFA Champions League. Runners-up: 1. 2020–21, European Cup Winners' Cup. Winners: 1. 1969–70, Doubles and Trebles, Doubles League and EFL Cup. 3. 2013–14, 2017–18, 2020-21 League Cup and European Cup Winners' Cup 1. 1969-70. Trebles, domestic treble, League, FA Cup, and EFL Cup 1. 2018-19. Club records. Record league victory 11-3 v. Lincoln City, the 23rd of March 1895. Most goals scored 10-0 v. Darwin, the 18th of February 1899. Widest margin of victory. Record FA Cup victory 12-0 v. Liverpool Stanley, the 4th of October 1890. Record European victory 7-0 v. Schalke 04. UEFA Champions League round of 16 second leg, the 12th of March 2019. Record league defeat 0-8 v. Burton Wanderers, the 26th of December 1894. 0-8 v. Wolverhampton Wanderers, the 23rd of December 1933. 1-9 v. Everton, the 3rd of September 1906. 2-10 v. Small Heath, the 17th of March 1893. Record FA Cup defeat 0-6 v. Preston North End, the 30th of January 1897. 2-8 v. Bradford Park Avenue, the 30th of January 1946. Record European defeat 0-4 v. Barcelona, UEFA Champions League group stage, the 19th of October 2016. Highest home attendance 84,569 v. Stoke City, the 3rd of March 1934. Remains the record home attendance in English football. Most league appearances 561 plus 3 sub. Alan Oaks 1958-76. Most European appearances 59 plus 16 sub. Fernandinho 2013-22. Most appearances overall 676 plus 4 sub. Alan Oaks 1958-76. Most goals scored overall 260. Sergio Aguero 2011-21. Most goals scored in a season 38. Tommy Johnson 1928-29. Record transfer fee paid £100 million to Aston Villa for Jack Grealish. August 2021. Record transfer fee received £54.8 million from Bayern Munich for Leroy Sané. July 2020. See also: List of Manchester City FC managers, List of Manchester City FC players, List of Manchester City FC records and statistics, List of Manchester City FC seasons, Manchester City FC in international football, Manchester Derby, Manchester City WFC, City Football Group. Notes. Bibliography. References. External links. Official website. Manchester City FC on BBC Sport. Club news. Recent results and fixtures. Manchester City FC at Score Shelf. Manchester City FC at UEFA.